Savannah Chrisley says her life is falling apart since her parents are in prison, while Lindsay and Nanny Faye pay a visit to Todd in Florida. Todd and Julie Chrisley, the father and matriarch of the Chrisley Knows Best family, reported to jail this week to begin serving their combined 19 years in prison after being found guilty of tax evasion and bank fraud. Savannah Chrisley is having a particularly tough time adjusting to her new existence without her parents. In the most recent episode of her podcast, Unlocked, she admitted that her life is falling apart. "Last week was tremendously challenging for my family as a whole and for each of us individually," Savannah explained ahead of the pre-recorded program. "We kind of had to say goodbye to my parents for a little bit of time for the foreseeable future, and that was really painful. I haven't recorded a podcast since. Today's podcast was recorded prior to my life falling apart." Savannah went on to claim that while she may appear happy-go-lucky in the podcast, this is only because she hasn't faced the truth of her family's predicament. She did, however, promise that in the next episode of Unlocked, she will give her fans a very intense experience, giving an update where my life is at, where things stand, how the kiddos are, nanny, all the above, and give an update on my parents. "Because you don't have one yet," she assured him. "I'm really excited to give that update because I've seen God operate in the most unlikely of circumstances." Lindsay Chrisley, Savannah's older half-sister, is dealing with Todd and Julie's incarceration in her own manner. She and her fan-favorite grandmother, Nanny Faye Chrisley, were recently seen visiting Todd at the Federal Correctional Institute Pensacola, where he is serving a 12-year sentence. Lindsay discussed her little road trip on her Southern Tea podcast. "It was simply not my greatest week. There were a lot of emotions linked with all of that, as well as my parents, siblings, and grandma." Lindsay also stated that once she was seen hitting the beach over the weekend, people began to question her intentions. "There was a thread this weekend about people trying to figure out what beach I was at and why I was there," she explained. "If it were my parents' beach house or a new condo." Lindsay later remarked that she is still adapting to her family's new normal, and that while the result wasn't what wanted, she now has a feeling of calm and closure. However, closure is not on Todd and Julie's agenda. The pair has passionately protested their innocence and vowed to vigorously fight their guilty verdicts, and their attorney has claimed that their trial was marred by major and recurring errors on the part of the prosecution.